This is a ManeHustle Media podcast.
Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Jackie O and you're listening to Militantly Mixed.
Yo, this is Rashani from the Single Simulcast. And when I'm not making you laugh or making up parody songs, I'm kicking back, listening to Militantly Mixed.
I would like to acknowledge that the Militantly Mixed podcast is recorded on the traditional lands of the Karankawa people, and I wish to pay my respects to the people of that nation, both past and present.
Hey, I'm Yunsu, co-host of the Auth Ethnic Podcast, a show where we have authentic conversations around race and social issues from an Asian American perspective. Our second season is out now. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Hey y'all, welcome to Militantly Mixed, the podcast about race and identity from the mixed race perspective. I am your host, Charmaine, aka Mixed Girl Maine, the busiest mixed race, bisexual, polyamorous, atheist, comic book nerd, cat mom, mask making, Gulf Coast Cosmos, comic book co-owning, Asian American Podcasters Association's Golden Crane Award winning podcaster in this podcasting game. This is episode 144, and it's just a quick solo episode to let y'all know that we still have 1 week left in the super critical Be Your Mixed Ass Self fundraiser T-shirt fundraiser. We've sold about 29 shirts so far. The goal was at least to hit 100 because we need to raise about $1,500 to keep the show going for the next couple months. So we're not quite there yet, but hopefully 1 more week we can sell those last 71 t-shirts. If you would like to participate in the fundraiser, but you don't maybe necessarily want to purchase a t-shirt, you can go to paypal.me/militantlymixed and drop some coins in that tip jar. So that's always available. Any time of year you can donate to the show through PayPal. I call it the tip jar because that's actually an idea I got from another podcaster years ago. She would ask at the end of her show if you would just give her a tip of $1.50 an episode into the PayPal. That's kind of how she sustained the show. And that was before Patreon. This was years ago. So I actually don't even know if Patreon existed when I was just a listener, not a podcaster myself. So every time I listened to a show, I donated $1.50 into the tip jar, like she said. And that's how she sustained her show. So that's why I have a PayPal for the show as a tip jar. If you get anything out of the show and it gives you any life at all, if you can consider from time to time dropping some coins in that tip jar to let us know that it's of value and you want it to keep going. Really just thinking about this as work. It sounds fun and I do have a lot of fun doing it, but there is a lot of work that y'all don't even see that goes on behind the scenes in terms of the communication between potential guests, the vetting of people, the actual interviewing people. The editing process takes so many hours. Now that I incorporated the video element, that's even more editing. Trying to get back to update the transcriptions because the transcriptions don't always sound or don't always match up. Things like that. There's a lot of, it's a full-time job that I do on a part-time basis. So if you view this as something that gives you something to keep it going, if you could drop in a couple of dollars here and there every month and or from time to time when you just feel like you want to support the show, that will really help keep us going. But the bread and butter of the show is Patreon. Without Patreon, these last 2 years, I just don't know how I would have sustained. Even though I had a full-time job and I was paying for the gaps between what we make in Patreon and what I owe to put this show on every month, it's the difference of me having to put forward $500 a month myself or putting forward $200 a month myself over the last couple of years. So the Patreon has really, really saved me in terms of keeping this show going. I probably would have ended it by now, just on financial reasons, not because of passion. So that's really the bread and butter. And right now we have about 28 people. We've had some fluctuation recently that are keeping this going. And luckily we have some high mark people. We have people at the $50 and $20 levels that really, really, really help. But if enough of y'all did just $1 level, that would actually help too. My personal goal is to eventually sustain myself through podcasting so that I can give more to the shows that I produce. So if you do get anything out of it, if you want to help keep us going, we have a separate fundraiser goal of $1,500 from what we make in Patreon each month, which fluctuates between 300, 330, or 275 a month. It kind of goes up and down. Right now we're below 300. We definitely need to get it up a little bit higher. So if you want to help support the show, you can support as low as $1 to as high as anything you wish. There are different rewards depending on what level you choose. And as long as you are at the $5 or more a month, you will have access to the video versions of the episodes that started with 142, which is just an exclusive benefit for the Patreons because the Patreon patrons, because they're really the reason why this show can keep going at all. October is just always a really expensive month because all of my annual licensing fees are due and we just don't make enough. That's why I put the fundraiser now to help catch us up there. So as long as we hit that goal, the show will go on. If we don't hit that goal, I need to do some reevaluation. That's what's going on. But I don't want to bring everything down. So I just want to... So when I left y'all last time, I was recording my intro early because I was about to travel to Vegas for CollexiCon. And even though I was back by the time that episode aired, I was not going to have enough time to record an intro for that episode. So I did all my work early. I was a good kid. But I was so excited. My experience at CollexiCon was wonderful. For those of you that never heard of it, CollexiCon is the largest queer women, non-binary, and femme geek media and entertainment conference in the world. This particular year, it wasn't that big because COVID, people are just now starting to get back into traveling. And I wouldn't have even attended had they not paid for my travel. I was actually pretty nervous about traveling because the pandemic is nowhere near reduced or over, but they were paying for it. So I wanted to make sure I didn't miss that opportunity. And I had a really great time. I got a lot of good information from some of the panels that I participated in. I've made a little bit of networking connections and things like that. I did some podcasting panel stuff. I did some queer representation in media stuff. I did some bi representation in media stuff. And I was just really, really motivated afterwards. I even brought back my show that was on hiatus, Bi Furious, to do an episode about my experience there. And it got me energized to start doing Bi Furious again. Because honestly, that's a bigger crossover of who I am as a person. With Militantly Mixed, I do try to focus predominantly on mixedness because that's me and all the audience here. But with Bi Furious, we really cover all of the intersections. And so it was nice to be able to bring that show back because I was motivated by my experience at CollexiCon. I had a really, really good time. And then it was followed by this amazing week at Gulf Coast Cosmos, my comic book shop. We had an event that was awesome. We had the most customers we've had in the store at one time, which was a little bit scary. We had to make sure that the doors were open and ventilation was good because we just had so many people. If you check out our Instagram at GCC Comics, you'll get to see how amazing that event was. And the Brunch Bus, which is this food truck that has the best chicken in Houston. I don't care what anybody says. Don't at me. It was just a good day. It was a really, really great day. So things are going good in terms of my transition to Houston and the beginning of this business life with Gulf Coast Cosmos. If I can just get the podcast to catch up, I would be in utter bliss because these two things are so integral to who I am as a person. My podcasting and my comic book shop and my public speaking are the three things that just make me feel complete. So it's just really been good. Sad that I'm scared about the financial state of the show, but happy that the show still exists and people are still interested in listening. So I'm opening it up to the audience. If y'all have businesses that you would like advertised, please consider reaching out to me for some kind of sponsorship deal through the show. That'll be a way to help keep us going and a way to promote your own businesses. If you happen to know somebody who does this kind of work that helps podcasts get sponsorship or anything like that, I'm trying to find a service that I can afford. And so far, I just can't afford the services that do this. So if you know somebody that's willing to cut a girl some slack, let me know. Other than that, we'll see. It may be the case that the show ends up having to go on an extended hiatus while I continue to look for funding or finding a different way to go about it, or it may have to end, and then I'll just rechannel my efforts to the mixed race community in different ways, maybe through my public speaking. But yeah, podcasting turned out to be way more expensive than they told me it was in the beginning. Well, I guess if you try to do things well, it's way more expensive. So I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to keep trying, but things are getting difficult financially to keep the show going. So if there's any way y'all can help me keep this thing going, I would appreciate it. Those links are always in the show notes for Patreon and for PayPal should you want to drop some coins. And then, of course, militantlymixed.com is also always there for you. And the merch tab is where you can get those Be Your Mixed Ass Self t-shirts or the Militantly Mixed logo gear that we have up there as well. And that's about it. I had back-to-back really great interviews for the next couple of weeks of the show, or for the next couple episodes of the show that I'm looking forward to sharing with y'all. But for now, I just want to make sure that y'all are getting the content that you want, and that I can keep collecting cousins to talk to for the sake of the show. So come back next week. We will have actor Sadie Faye will be our guest next week. And then in a couple weeks from there, we will have therapist Katrina on the show. So stay tuned. We're going to have some really great discussions coming up on the show. And yeah, that's it. So don't forget, y'all. Be your mixed ass up. Oh, and if you have been purchasing, I've gotten a couple people have sent me pictures or tagged me pictures, but I haven't seen them pop up on the Instagrams. So if you do take a picture and post it on the Instagram, please tag Militantly Mixed in it and hashtag it Be Your Mixed Ass Self so I can see them. And then I'll regram them so that I can put them on the Instagram too, because it just brings a big old fat smile to my face when I see people wearing that shirt. I still haven't taken my picture with my black one yet. I didn't end up wearing it in Vegas, and so I didn't take a picture. So I'll get mine up there pretty soon here too. But yeah, don't forget, y'all. Be your mixed ass selves. Bye. Militantly Mixed is a ManeHustle media podcast, produced and hosted by me, Charmaine Fury. Music is by David Bogan the One. You can follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Militantly Mixed. If you'd like to become a sponsor of Militantly Mixed, please go to patreon.com/Militantly Mixed for monthly sponsorship, or paypal.me/Militantly Mixed for a one-time only donation. And if you like what you hear on Militantly Mixed, please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget to be your mixed ass self. ManeHustle Media. Turn your side hustle into your main hustle.